Just click through to Facebook. Okay, I believe we are now live. So good afternoon, gents.
Hi, Phil. Hi, how you doing? You all right? You okay?
Very good, thank you. And absolutely delighted to be joined by you both. Obviously, from a sector perspective, this is a really critical time now as we start to navigate and steer towards reopening, which is very much the topic of what we're here to talk about. And you're going to be presenting and giving loads of detail on the Make the Comeback campaign, which is a free campaign, I believe.
Yeah, it's a free campaign that we're giving to the sector, if you like, to buy in to help people bounce back. So we're really, really proud to be able to do that. Really excited to be able to share it with you all. So, but yeah, great to be able to get as many people involved as possible and create a bit of a movement to get people back as we bounce back. Definitely.
Which is so important, and I think also really refreshing that we've got this approach which is sector wide and it's joined up and it's free for all to help us all move forward together, which is very much what this group and what everything we're trying to do is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've been working on so many different campaigns with our clients since lockdown, and probably 25 different operators, and this is probably the strongest campaign. There are lots of, but we're really excited. The messaging's great, and to help people with the current comms now with their current customers, and then also as we get the opportunity, the other side, to inspire new people to join. So both John and I will share that with you today, with everybody, about that flow. So really focused on your current members, your current customers now.
Yeah.
And then as you're ready, you can go for acquisition. So it's got that flow, which is really exciting.
Well, whilst I remember, and it's fresh in my mind, if you are watching this stream live, please feel free to fire questions at Woody and John. It's the first time I've actually spoken with you both, but we're going with Woody straight away. That's right.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my wife's the only one who calls me Paul generally, and I'm in trouble, as I said. So yeah.
Great. So just to kind of recap on what we'll be touching on. So you're going to be talking about everything that people need to know about the national campaign and Make the Comeback campaign. You're going to give details on how people can get the free Kickstarter pack, and some real practical tips on planning for the relaunch campaign, as you said, which is not just existing customers, but hopefully actually new customers as well, new members, new clients.
Definitely, yeah. We've heard there's lots of content out there, Phil, and we've heard this message that this is the biggest pre-sale in history, and we're really worried about that kind of narrative. Mm-hmm. Yes, there will be a point that in time that acquisition will be really important, but we've got to get your customers back first in a really positive way. So getting that balance right is key, really key.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting looking at some of the comments on the post building up to this session, and people are so uncertain about, is it the 4th of July? Is it September? Is it October even? The timelines keep moving and all the time. So trying to put a flexible campaign that gives you the flexibility to launch something now to your existing customers and have that messaging going out, and then when you're at a point that you can bring in new customers, the campaign can roll into that phase as well.
Well, for some people in the group, it may be the first time that they've ever had the pleasure of hearing from you both. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction. So Woody, you're going to be speaking first.
Yeah.
Both of you, huge amount of experience within the sector, but you're currently the Director of Marketing and Partnerships for TA6, but that is a part of Alliance Leisure, is that right?
Yeah, I'm Director of Marketing Partnerships for Alliance Leisure, and our marketing training kind of client support arm is called TA6, which I head up. So really key part of Alliance Leisure. Really important.
TA6 is basically the special forces equivalent of Alliance Leisure. Is that right? Am I understanding?
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, special Navy SEALs of Alliance. I like that. I'll take that.
So you were previously Group Sales and Marketing Director for DC Leisure before setting up your own consultancy back in 2006, and you've got a lot of experience in sales and marketing within the sector. You helped set up back in 2009 Alliance Leisure.
Well, Alliance was going then, but we set up and I joined and brought my business in and met up with John, and we created the client support division and TA6 as it is now. So Alliance has been going for a while before then, but we really, 10 years ago have evolved, and we launched TA6 as a brand 2 years ago. So we're really proud of the impact it's making now to the sector as well. So, it's good.
Oh. And John, Woody, you're going to be speaking first, but John, in terms of your background, so you're head of marketing for Alliance Leisure.
Yep.
Very much starting out in the grassroots. We spoke just briefly on this call before we went live. So you started out fitness instructing, personal training, then switched into a more management type role, then sales, marketing, and that journey's just been sort of an onward trajectory.
Yeah, it's interesting. 2 days into being a gym instructor, I was on a sales and marketing course. Just as a coincidence, the business had booked that in. So I suppose marketing's been part of what I've done for the last 20 years, but yeah, very much started as a gym instructor on the shop floor.
Brilliant. Great. Well, Woody, I'm going to hand over to you to kickstart this.
Thanks, Phil.
Really exciting campaign.
Cheers. Brilliant. So I think John's going to share some slides. And hello, everybody. And one thing I wanted to fire a question out to everybody that's watching, for you to think about what's important to you personally. What would really give you the confidence to bounce back to a gym, a leisure centre, group X classes, to swim. It's really important for you to kind of understand the feelings that your consumers are feeling out there at the moment. So, just reflect on what would really give you that confidence and what would really inspire you to come back. And hopefully the Make the Comeback campaign will give you some one-liners, some inspiration to really give you the confidence to bounce back if you saw it from a customer perspective. Like I said, we've been working on campaigns for the last 2 months, and we developed a model called T-2, which basically was trying to get our clients, even though we were in lockdown and it was rabbit under the headlights in terms of we're closed, this was a completely new situation for everybody, to get a plan ready so that 2 weeks out, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whenever we got the green light to potentially be opening, that you could fire off a really positive comms plan. And we call that T-2. So the slide that you've got in front of you shows that you should be focused on the products that you're going to be trying to generate revenue and participation for across the board, not just memberships, everything within leisure. Decide the channels you're going to focus the audience, but develop a campaign. So we've been doing that for the last 2 months. And so all that methodology is intrinsic to the power of Make the Comeback. So there are assets, there are thought processes in terms of PR, with a whole view that now we're potentially looking to open in a month's time. If that date happens, the week of the 6th, you need to be starting to fire off your T-2 plan over the next couple of weeks. But the next slide really shows you that we've been through a journey. It's like Hogwarts stairs, where you think you've suddenly got everything sorted, and then the chairs move and they change. But at the moment, the stairs are fixed in the point that there's a lot of confidence out there. Not confidence, not the word, but a lot of focus that we're going to open in July. So are you ready to start to communicate to your customers effectively to inspire them to want to come back? Initially, the members that were there the day you closed, and that kind of flows into the stages of management that we've been going through. So stage one was the closure phase. We closed back in March, and on average, we've seen around 15 to 20% of people's membership cancelled, around 15% at that time. So it's a good test for you to see where you sat against that stat. But up until now, over the last most operators we're seeing are around 20% cancellation rates. So we've got to try and inspire those people and try and get them back. But there is this big unknown of when we do reopen, how many people are have already checked out of their membership. We don't know they've cancelled, but in their eyes, they've checked out. It's a phrase that we've kind of developed, or, how can we check them back in? So stage two is that we are here, committed, trying to build a community, stay connected, adding value. It's called the We Are Here phase, and most people pivoted from a in-club offering to an online solution, and that's been really successful for some people, to the point that they're even going to look to sell that ongoing afterwards. But there's an arrow that's going to come in the slide now, which is really important, that we're building up. We've kind of moved from the We Are Here. We're now heading towards what we call T-2. You're getting ready to open, and we call it the We Are Ready phase, with a view that we're going to start to open and start to build forward as we go through. So yeah, if you can flick it on, John. So what you have is the We Are Here phase, which was comms and online workouts and staying connected. We're in the We Are Ready, and some of our clients have actually done this campaign. We are here, we are ready, we are back, and this is the start point of the We Are Comeback. Then as we start to open, you're starting to share stories and successes of the things you've put in place to keep people safe. And that's the big message that you need to get out over the next few weeks in the We Are Ready phase, is the standards of cleanliness and safety and trust in your brand when people bounce back in. So not only are you trying to stay connected and trying to inspire people to want to come back, we've heard this stat that there's 30% of your customers are ready and chomping at the bit to come back as soon as you open. And I believe that. I really want to get back into the club that I'm a member of, but I need to know the standards and safety and cleanliness has been thought through. So you are in that We Are Ready phase now, and there's some great video out there at the moment. Lots of one-man bands, standalone clubs are sharing clips of the standards they're putting in place to help people back, and you need to be putting that type of content out. Next stage is then really understanding the journey we went on to shape to make the comeback, is how are your customers feeling? John, can you just flick that on for me? Is that okay?
I was just going to say there, just the link that's on the screen as well. So if anybody wants to download some of the We Are Here assets, we have put some free tools out there for people. So we'll share these slides afterwards, but the COVID support on our website does allow you to download some of that free stuff if you want.
Yeah, we really wanted to give lots of content to people to be able to help during it and stay connected. Actually, John, if you go back to the stages of management slide, I think there's something I'd like to show on that that's really important. What seems to have happened is this period between stage 1 and 3. A lot of people, or the We Are Here, have focused on social media or Facebook or Instagram as the way of communicating, and have avoided sending communication to their databases. It's really important now that you're not just putting stuff out on your social channels. You are sending real positive communication to your customers, so that the next time they hear from you, if they haven't, is not when you're asking them to come back and unlock your membership, that you are staying connected. So then to help shape the campaign was really understanding how customers feel. And you've got 2 tracks running at the moment. The first is we've got all of this stress and anxiety and uncertainty of fear about whether I'm going to catch the virus, restrictions on what I can do, and having to stay at home, and a lot of people feeling isolated and uncertain about the future, and what brands can I go and see, but at the moment we're starting to see things lifted, and the panic's moved away from am I going to have enough toilet roll to is my job going to be safe? And I think that's really, really important. What's going to happen with people's livelihoods is a real key concern. But am I safe is super, super important at the moment. So you have to really show that you've got those things covered and you've thought those things through. So you've got that side, and then running alongside that, you have all of this positivity. It's paradoxically running a side where people are really reflecting on their lives, really appreciating or not appreciating certain things. And you look at some of these pictures, you know, people are connecting more than they've ever connected. There's an older demographic that are using technology that weren't using technology before. We're getting to know our neighbours. We're really appreciating our jobs, our family, money. And I'm actually sitting down and having dinner with my family in the evening and talking and communicating. But the top right one's fascinating. We really are looking at the value of money. And is a gym membership, is a membership at your facilities, or attending Group X regularly or swimming regularly and having a package, is that top of my list now on the other side? A lot of people have reflected that they want to be more active and they want to be fitter, but we have to make sure that we're inspiring people to want to take action. So your campaign, and that's the essence of the Make the Comeback, is what's your comeback going to be? We're opening, we're making a comeback. We want you to make a comeback. How are you going to be different through this experience? Yes, it has been stressful. Yes, there's a lot of people have lost their lives and there's a lot of fear, but how can we be different? How can we benefit from this, and what action can we take? So at the moment, all those fears that we've had as consumers and the public, you're now feeling as operators with restrictions, fear, lack of control. When am I going to open? And you're modeling different scenarios. You know, will customers come back and will they survive? Is you know, or will we survive? Then your customers are thinking, am I safe? Have I got a job? But I want to get fit. I want to connect to people again. I want to be active. But a big thing is revenge spending. And we saw this in China, which was that people were, as soon as they were set free, were spending on, you know, high level, high expensive goods, handbags, designer labels. Over here, we've seen some really bizarre revenge spending techniques, which is queuing for 2 hours for a KFC or a Big Mac. You know, as soon as we've been set free, people are prepared to queue for 2 hours. I saw like a 5-hour queue for IKEA because we could. And I think that's, you know, so people are wanting to spend, you know, they're not that desperate for a Big Mac, but because they can, they're going to queue for it. And I'm going to do it because I've been set free. We need to make sure that a membership is on that revenge spending list of, you know, and that fitness and activity is. But to start with, we're in the we are ready phase. You have to reassure that you've got things covered. And a big part of the comeback is come back knowing that we've put things in place. So it will really challenge you as an operator to make sure you have, because if you're going to tell people that you're clean, safe, and you've thought things through, then you need to be able to deliver on that. And if you don't, that will spin. The brands that don't get that right will really suffer from that. If you do get that right, it will give confidence, and then people will start to build and start to come back. So really focus on some positive key messages, but not being ignorant to the fact that people are scared. This slide is not a great slide in terms of presentation, and as a marketeer, me and John probably feel it could be presented better, but this is a dump of information that we're kind of working through. So we left it because actually this is the process that you guys are going through at the moment to really decide on what you do in terms of opening, and that will shape your messaging. So at the moment, we are working towards the fact that we feel in July, unless things change, we're going to start to open. So what you'll be doing is what facilities, what capacity, what staff do I need? What can I open safely? What will the standards be? The COVID ready standards that I need to have? How are people going to access? Do I need to do bookings? Do I need to train my staff? So you've got all these decisions, and there's lots of questions. We'll share these slides so people can see those that you need to answer. Then once you've decided that, how am I going to unfreeze? We call it the big unfreeze. You know, who am I going to communicate to? You know, when, and what message am I going to say? And there are two really key questions on the big freeze. Is number one is, if someone, even though you're opening potentially in July and it's restricted, if someone doesn't want to come back because they don't feel safe, even if you opened up the whole facility, are you going to give them the flexibility to extend their freeze? And I think you have to, but how long for? If you are going to open and it's going to be reduced rates, are you going to discount? And so there's lots of decisions to think about. Once you've made those, you communicate to your customers. Then what will happen is restrictions will be lifted again. The next range of facilities will be open, and you'll go through the same journey where you communicate, people will be able to unfreeze, and then you'll be ready for acquisition. Stage one if you aggressively go for acquisition too early, you really risk disengaging your current membership base. But you are going to attract people as soon as word gets out that you're open. People are going to want to join. How do you deal with those people positively, as well as manage your members coming back and feeling valued? So lots of questions, and what we've tried to do is really try and help you with the Make the Comeback campaign to be able to positively answer those questions for people and give people confidence. From a segmentation perspective, we're marketeers, when we pull together campaigns, you look at campaigns directed on activity and the facilities they're going to use. Then there's demographic groups, and you can go as detailed as Mosaic, Acorn, Sport England groups, or you can chunk people into segments based on their experience of exercise. And we do lots of segmentation work. No doubt you'll be looking to do that within your campaigns. But the key focus for this is about the motivation linked to the journey people have been in through COVID. So lots of power one-liners that people can relate to one, give people confidence to come back safely, but to inspire people that I need to make a comeback, that I need to get fit and active. Actually being healthy is so important at this time. Being active, keeping my immune system high is going to help me, fight the virus, stop my friends and family getting the virus because I'm healthy, because this is not going away. So it's real power statements to give people confidence. And we love the essence of the Make the Comeback. We're making a comeback. It's time for you to, and really encouraging people to do that in the right way. Just shut the window. So what you have there is a flow of the government guidance has changed. What's that the operational impact of that is, what facilities am I going to open, capacity, how do I staff that, is it feasible to open? Yes, right, you're making those decisions now. Let's communicate to my customers really positively and give them options to come back if they feel comfortable to, but if they don't, what are the options for them? Then suddenly the capacity will change because the guidelines have been lifted. You make changes, then you can hit acquisition, and you can be, as positive as you need to be, getting ex-customers back and then really trying to drive new customers. So there's a clear flow that we've been through to help with the assets that you'll get or have access to with the Make the Comeback. I love this slide. I love this. This is really, if we were open, completely normal, with no restrictions, bearing in mind the journey that people will do, and on the 6th of July, we're opening fully, you would want to do all of this great stuff with people in terms of book a one-to-one. We'll have a discussion with you about the journey you've been on. We can assess your goals. We put on here virtually, you can do that because you're not going to be able to do that face-to-face. But if you would try to have contact with people to find out how they felt. So you're going to have an adjustment of that. And we've put that virtual world. You'd want them to try Group X, but that's going to be limited. We'd want testimonials of customers on their phone saying, I'm back, I love it, why don't you make a comeback? So there's so much great stuff that you can do. You've just got to gauge it and time it in the right way. And then when acquisition kicks in, the Make the Comeback is really set up to inspire people to make a comeback and make positive changes in their life. Cool. We're now going to hit the comeback. Is it worth, Phil? Is there any questions that have come through now that we answer? And
we've not had any just yet. I've got some questions, but I think you've given so much there, and one of my sort of initial thoughts, and it'd be great to get your thoughts on this, is that a lot of this campaign is geared around facilities, as in being able to reopen a building to allow members and at some point new members to come back in. But actually the core messaging that you've got in terms of we are here, we are ready, we are back, that from my perspective seems to be something that can translate to individual operators who perhaps don't have a facility. And obviously the campaign is focused around that, but I just wanted, is the messaging something that can extend beyond just the realms of a building? I suppose is
100%. The messaging is about inspiring. You know, if I'm a PT and I want to drive traffic and I'm doing stuff outside, you know, anything leisure-wise, you know, independence. This is a call to arms to get people to make a personal comeback. And it doesn't have to just be, yes, there's fitness, but we're applying this to all parts of leisure. You know, every element of leisure, and getting active and making a difference to your life because of the journey. And that's why we wanted to provide it and put it out there, because we want this to be a national call. You know, we've been through something that no one's been through before. And there's lots of reflection gone on. It's about making a comeback. How are we going to be different from this? Don't go through this without, you know, making some commitment. So yeah, I totally agree. This doesn't have to be just a facility-based campaign. We've set it up that way, definitely.
I just sense that we've had so far we've had 25 organisations sign up for the comeback so far, and that's been a real mixture from a number of individual personal trainers, small private operators, through to some large leisure trusts operating multi-facilities. And we do keep talking about the 4th of July as opening, but actually I'm working with a number of clients already that have got golf and tennis up and running, you know, so we're actually open already. The comeback has started. It's not just waiting for physical facilities like gyms and classes, though that does dominate the headlines and the media at the moment, looking at what a David Lloyd or a Fitness First are doing. But there's lots of operators running activities, if you will, right now.
And it's the layers, Phil, of going through, actually, because stage 1 in July at some point potentially is gym and some form of group X in control bay and outdoor maybe, or different, you know, but that's going to phase through from the pool down the line to playing squash. You know, tennis is now. So, you know, you could make the comeback and nail your first ace. You know, you could use it in whatever way you want. You know, it's inspiring people to get active again and learn from the journey. So yeah, totally can be used across the sector.
Thank you for that.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll just take you through the campaign itself. So I thought it'd just be useful to show you some visuals, show what it looks like, how do operators actually get involved in the campaign. And we very much wanted to make this a national campaign that anyone can buy into, as we said, from small independents through to large organisations, and not just a national campaign that has a goodwill behind it to get people active, but actually drives participation, actually gets people to take action within their local area. So the campaign itself had 4 key objectives, a couple we've just talked about there, about getting the public back into their facilities, but you know, the wider remit of that, of just back into local activities. So facilities does lend itself to thinking about physical buildings, but open spaces, parks, outdoor activities, 3G pitches, football. But we want to ultimately get the industry back on its feet as quickly as possible. And the campaign is flexible to be used across different activities, different sizes of operators, and lots of messages, rather than it being blinkered into just fitness or just tennis or just golf. It can go across lots of different activities. But ultimately, as we said, it's about driving participation, actually getting people into those activities with a clear call to action at the end of it. The campaign itself, just a little bit of background on the word choice and how we've come up with comeback. It's a really useful, versatile phrase because it's a statement of intent. It can actually drive people back into facilities. It's an action in itself as well. So some of those statements on the screen there about come back today, come back stronger. Some of the social media memes that we've come up with about, you know, the comeback is stronger than the setback. There's quite some powerful statements that this campaign pulls together. And it can be used across different plays on words, from come back for your health, come back to a facility or an activity, or come back with your friends, come back with energy, come back with confidence. So there's lots of ways that operators can use this campaign to fit their messages and their activities that they're wanting to promote. And as Woody's referred to, there's 3 key groups that we've kept in mind throughout this, with the first stage being existing customers and making the comeback and getting them back started as quickly as possible. Then getting your ex-customers returning and making a comeback to facilities. And then new customers. And at that stage, different operators will have different promotions within the campaign of how they communicate their facilities are open and at what stage that's going to be at. Call to actions, we will be cautious about a few on here, just not going too early with big incentives or 3-day passes, but you don't want to annoy existing customers with capacity issues if you've been seen to be promoting to new customers too early. But some of the call to actions in the early days will just be around, we're open, get started, make a comeback. People are desperate. I know a lot of friends who, are fed up of Joe Wicks. They want something different. They want to get back into their facilities. So just telling people that you're there for them and that you're safe and that reassurance is there is quite key before some of the traditional promotions campaigns kick in that the industry would tend to lead with. We are keen to make sure that this ties in with other national campaigns as well. We're conscious that National Fitness Day comes around in September. This Girl Can, Every Mind Matters. There's lots of ongoing campaigns that we want to tie it in with. We're waiting for UK Active a little bit more detail on the Fit Together campaign, so we can look at how the two can work together rather than conflict and operators have to choose this or that. There should be a way of branding those campaigns with the same messages. Ultimately, they are about driving participation, getting people active and fit and back into exercise. So hopefully we can team up with those providers to do that. Woody mentioned this as well, that the messaging about making sure that you're safe and giving customers reassurance because of a lot of the fear that's out there. Early stages of the campaign will be around, return safely, make a comeback, we are the safe provider of choice. So using the campaign in the early days just to put that message across will be key, just as much as it will be to try and incentivize new customers to come back in further down the line. I think one of the best ways to do that will be testimonials. I think the operators who get it right within the early days and weeks of opening will be those that are using real life people, their existing customers who've made that comeback, to actually go on camera and talk to their fellow customers as well, their fellow members, and say, look, I've made a comeback, now it's your turn. These were my fears, I've overcome them. So real powerful messages you can get across in videos. As we all know, not a lot of customers are happy to go on video. So like we've on the screen, a nice picture and a text testimonial will go a long way, encouraging people to leave testimonials through prize draws and incentives. Just a real galvanizing together to get more testimonials from your customers in the early days will be key. It is an operator campaign. It's not got TA6 and Alliance leisure splashed all over it. It's very much for operators to brand themselves. So as you'll see in a minute, the Kickstarter pack is given for free for operators to put their own branding on it and make it their own. There's the option for Alliance to support that process if operators don't have the resources or skill set to brand it, but it is meant to be for the operators to take themselves. We'll provide lots of support within the pack, so the social media support in terms of tips and advice, assets, graphics, some animated memes for people to use. There's a couple of press releases in the pack as well, so people can actually see how they can put a press release out to the local media and spin that with some positive messages about making a positive comeback and opening the facilities. And then lastly, we'd like to think that operators use a content marketing strategy rather than one that focuses on incentives and financial discounts all the time. It's about proving value in that business. So it's not about the sale potentially, it's about the value, and content will help create that. So we've put together a couple of blogs in the Kickstarter pack that talks about how to make a successful comeback, tips for making a comeback that operators can use themselves, but then that will be the starting point of them creating their own content. So what does that look like on their blog page, on their website? How can they create some social media posts that actually encourage people to make a comeback? So the campaign itself, this is what we've put together. This is available. We'll share all the links on Facebook and CIMSPA on the Stronger Together pages already, but the Kickstarter pack basically gives you logos, templates, a video, some blogs, press releases, all for free. They're in InDesign format, so operators can tweak them and change them themselves. They can also get listed on the Make the Comeback website, which is designed to direct the public into their local facilities with a postcode finder for their local centre or activity or provider in that area. And then the second option is where TA6 can support operators really make it their own if they don't have that resource within the organisation to do it. So we'll spend some time with that operator, looking at their marketing plans, developing the social media strategy, and creating some assets that are theirs, and it's their brand values that come through with the campaign. Lastly, there is a number of bolt-ons, just our TA6 services in general that we can provide to make the campaign more successful, from microsites if operators don't have that web support. A lot of video photography. Again, we're aware a lot of people are filming themselves on cameras, but that little extra professional touch and giving reassurance that you are the provider of choice, then we can set up some photo shoots. And there's lots of services that we can provide on there. For me to finish, the next step is for people to register for the campaign if they're interested. Of course, after this, we'll share our contact details if people have got other questions that aren't asked in the next few minutes. But if you do want to visit the website, there's a little bit more information on the campaign. You can register your interest and we'll get in touch to explain what you get within the pack, and we can take it from there. And that's us.
Cool. Well,
Woody, anything to add?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of bits there on the campaign that are really important for me. Is the flexibility of it, for you to be able to use it across everything. But I love the essence of being able to make the comeback to really drive the impact of national campaigns as well. So things like This Girl Can, or National Fitness Day, or We're Undefeatables. They're such inspirational, fantastic campaigns. You just look at that, in themselves, but they generally don't drive units. They don't drive sales. Because there isn't really a link, whereas this could really help. So when National Fitness Day kicks in, you can really get behind that event that day and link it to your campaign. The same with This Girl Can. So I think that's one thing that I think really does have added value down the line. But it's moving it across any part of leisure, as you said, Phil. I think it has that agility. So and from us as a team, when people have inquired, we're generally ringing back from a perspective and asking clients what they're going to use it for and help. So there's kind of free time from us there to give them a bit of guidance on how to really make the most of the campaign as well.
I think, just looking at it, you've shared so much there during that presentation, so much highly valuable information, whether people run with this campaign, which I would absolutely encourage people to do so, or they don't. I think some of the key important things for me, you based at the very start, Woody, you were talking about really understanding the feelings and the emotions of people out there. And it's absolutely key to really recognize those when it comes to the messaging and the wording. You were really careful to select words that really responded to those emotions, because it has been just an insanely never experienced before period of time, and everyone has their own path that they've gone on during this session, during this time, and I just think that's such an important message for people to really recognize, is understand people's emotions, people's fears, their concerns, and really make sure that when it comes to your wording and your communications, that you are really picking up on the what people want to hear, to give them that confidence about coming back.
Definitely. And I think in a couple of weeks' time, potentially, one of the most important emails operators are ever going to send to their club live is going to go out, which is about we're starting to open again and what happens. And the wording that you're using on your social channels now around it, and the wording that you use to inspire people to come back within, not just we're opening and here's what we're doing with your membership. That's the content of that focus is so important, and a big chunk of your customers have already checked out. I'm a member of a big chain, and I'm running now, and I wasn't running before. I was a free weights bunny, and I'm questioning whether I need to go back, and I'm really already at that point. Yeah. So what is that brand doing to make sure they check me back in? And so it's really important that, and then there are loads of people at home who want to get fit and active. How do we inspire them to be part of our journey? So yeah, it's that inspiration. But me and John are a good double act in that sense, because we're both passionate about it, but sometimes he'll give me the virtual slap of, you can be too positive with, you have to be clear that it's restricted opening, and there's a journey we're going through, and I think that's the positive message, but with safety, is crucial, definitely.
I think again, there was so many different key points I was trying to pick up on, but a really good reflection for me was just don't just focus on social media. Make sure that you are going across, because not everyone tunes into social media. Some people probably during this time have switched that off. You know, you talked about checking out. They've probably checked out of social media just to give themselves a little bit of headspace. So make sure that your comms is really wide in the different mediums you're using to get your messaging out.
100%. Yeah. And I think that's email, text, you know. What about a letter? We had a client that actually sent a letter to all of their database, which they wouldn't have done before because there was so much noise, and just got such a brilliant response to it. So, you know, there are different ways, you know, not just that I'm putting it out on Facebook, everyone's seeing it. No, they're not. And so, yeah, really important, really important.
We've had a couple of responses here. A lot of people just saying thank you. They've really liked it. Joe Bridge said that she really liked the branding and the message within the campaign. Tom Glynn has asked a question. He said, excellent. Is there, you've already got people trying to back you down now, is there a non-corporate price for charitable non-profit sport organisations? Is there an option there for those non-for-profit? Sorry to put you on the spot.
In terms of the bespoke package,
I assume so, because obviously the sort of the core campaign is free to pick up. It's the bespoke elements that there's a
I think
attached, isn't it?
The bespoke element, that package is just that just covers our cost to brand it. It's not a money making scheme. But I think independently we're open. We'd have discussions with every client when they register at the situations they're in. So yeah, I welcome an inquiry, and then John or I can have a conversation. But the bespoke pack is just there to cover our design team to do the work that you need to do. So to make it yours. So, but happy to have some conversations definitely about, you know, doing the right thing if we can.
Yeah, the number of leisure trusts that we actually work with already, I think probably 40 to 50% of our clients are registered charities, so we're very much used to dealing with that sector. So.
Yeah. Well, what would be, just to sort of wrap up? I'm very conscious we've probably gone over in time, but that's not a problem at all, because I think this is just such an important topic to get right. You know, you only get one opportunity to come back, so please do it as best as you possibly can. You know, if for any operators or people who are perhaps out there who just for whatever reason haven't got or haven't started a campaign, what would you recommend as their next step? You know, if they're in that point, there is that uncertainty of the date. You know, when are we actually going to be able to open the doors or get back into some new level of normality? What would you recommend is just that next step to take if someone's just not jumped into anything with a real sort of strategic plan?
Right, you have to jump now. That is the thing you have to do. You can't, even if the dates move, if there's a second phase, you have to have your plan. It's the essence of T-2. Have it ready, whether it's with Make the Comeback or whatever. You know, have your plan ready, because you can move it. So with every one of our clients that we've been working with that have developed, either use Make the Comeback or other campaigns, we've say the acquisition bit, we said hold off. But imagine if you opened and you lost 40% of your membership cancelled, you're going to have to fire off acquisition. So you have it ready now, that element. So if they haven't jumped, they have to jump, you know, because, you know, and if things move, that doesn't matter. You're organised and you have a plan. So it is daunting, but once you get into it, and that the decision map's a good thing, because there's questions you've got to answer. And once you've done that, it gives you clarity, but you have to jump in and do it now. Yeah, definitely.
So now is absolutely the time to start taking action if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, we're firing off T-2 now. In our head, that was because we've got dates. And if you're not at that point, you've got to catch up. But you can do it quickly. But yeah, you need your plan ready. And there's a good chance dates might move. Yes, because the stairs of Hogwarts change, you know. but at least you've got it ready and you have the flexibility to move it 100%. Yeah.
Well, and in terms of actually finding out more, all of the campaign, the details, the links for people to actually do that, they're on the Stronger Together hub. We'll make sure that that link is embedded within this live stream as well, so that it's very easy for people to find. So a huge thank you for jumping on this afternoon, and I'm certain this campaign is going to run as well, so it would be absolutely great to have you on back on in perhaps a couple of weeks, just to update and see how it's all going, and perhaps share some of the experiences from those operators who are very much kind of on the path of making their comeback.
Yeah, we'd love to be able to do that. Definitely love to be able to do that. And I'm really sorry I had to shut my window, but the window cleaners are obviously back with social distancing, because suddenly someone started cleaning my window in my office. So thank you. No, it's been a real honour, and we're really honoured to be able to put this out, and appreciate that CIMSPA have really got behind this. It's, as a collective, we're trying to help everyone bounce back. And yeah, so we're really thankful for having the opportunity to do that, Phil. Thank you.
A real pleasure. Thank you very much, and enjoy your weekend.
Cheers, guys.
Right.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.